As a Canadian and Canadian coin collector, I would like to talk about the history of Canada. Canada was originally the land for Paleo-Indians before Europeans discovered North America. Columbus in 1492 discovered North America, and European countries started to show interest in North America. England and France showed strong interest where Canada was. As Canadians, we should know who John Cabot is because this man is the one who landed in Newfoundland and named this new land as Newfoundland and declared it is the new land of England. But ironically, he was an Italian, Giovanni Caboto, from Gavona or Napoli. However, England wanted to continue to develop newly found land, which is known as Newfoundland. But after Henry VIII, the English Reformation began, and they didn't have a chance to develop North America. The one who showed more interest in North America was Queen Elizabeth I. So Queen Elizabeth I sent Humphrey Gilbert to Canada once again, and he arrived at St. John's and founded the colonizing government. However, Gilbert died while he was returning to England because they faced a typhoon. Later, Henry Hudson continued to discover this new land, and they eventually reached Nova Scotia. My dad went there, and he said he wants to live there. He loves Nova Scotia. Hudson discovered the giant bay, and he named it as Hudson's Bay. Hudson wanted to continue discovering the new land, but guess what? The people who were following Henry Hudson missed the motherland and wanted to go home, so the crew just threw Henry Hudson and his children somewhere, and the rest of the crew landed in England. We still don't know what happened to Hudson's family. Charles first named the land that Hudson discovered as Rupert's Land, which was based on his cousin's name, Prince Rupert of the Rhine, and the Hudson's Bay Company founded in Canada. Meanwhile, France side Jacques Cartier discovered Quebec. He met St. Lawrence Iroquoians, brought 2 sons to France as evidence of discovery of new land, and France was excited to hear that it was the land full of gold and rich life. So, they went to the new land again and brought back 2 sons of St. Lawrence Iroquoians. After the discussion with natives, they discovered St. Lawrence River, and they heard Kanata, which means village in native language, and that later became the name of the country Canada. This time Jacques Cartier kidnapped Donnacona chief himself instead of his sons and went back to France. I mean, imagine how shitty that would feel if you are kidnapped by foreigners. So Chief Donnacona lied to Francois I, the King of France, that there is a kingdom of Saguenay that is filled with gold, and the king believed it. Well, it was his one way to get back to Canada once again. So they built Charlesbourg Royal at Stadacona and fortified the area. The Saguenay that they were told were filled with quartz and pyrite, so no gold, and the Iroquois Confederacy invaded where France settled, so it was chaotic. Jacques Cartier had to return to France, but it didn't make France give up. They showed more interest in Quebec and founded Compagnie de Son Associé, and the city they developed later became Montreal. I went there. It was a beautiful city. Well, since Rupert's Land was developed by England, and England started to take over the whole north side of North America land, so they wanted to get Quebec and Acadia somehow. If you look at the map of Rupert's Land, you can tell why. The Treaty of Utrecht made France give the land that they discovered in North America to England. Part of Hudson's Bay and Nova Scotia, Newfoundland, were handed to England. English people allowed French people to live in Acadia, but after the 7 Years' War, English people deported them or sent them away from the land. So some French people went back to France, escaped to Saint-Pierre-et-Miquelon, or to Louisiana. France had control in Quebec and some parts of Canada, but after the French and Indian War, Quebec became part of England's land. But it couldn't make French people surrender their heart. That's why until now, Quebec's independence from Canada is a topic and issue in Canada. The reason that Quebec follows Catholicism and speaks French is because of our neighbor country, the United States. During that period of time, United States independence was the biggest headache for England, and they didn't want Quebec, French people, to join the United States. That's why the Treaty of Quebec was signed. I mean, the United States wants Canada to be the 51st states. I guess it is not over yet. Back in the 1770s, the United States asked Nova Scotia and Quebec to join the United States. So, ironically, history repeats. I will come back with part 2 because this is going to be a bit longer episode.